like to welcome you to Boy Meets Wellness, a podcast that discusses the complexities, celebrations, and challenges of building a wellness ritual as a BOI, a person who is born obviously incredible. You are now listening to Boy Meets Wellness with poet, motivational speaker, and wellness lover, Evolve Benton.
BOI, born obviously incredible, especially when you wear it pretty.
Well, family, welcome to Boy Meets Wellness. I'm excited to have this conversation with you about podcasting, branding, and just being authentic because, Erin, I feel like that's something that you're an expert in. So let's start off with our first question, which is, what brings you joy and where are you from?
Ooh, I like the way we're starting this off. What brings me joy? Honestly, interviewing and listening to people tell their stories, and the passion that drives them. That's definitely something that brings me joy. And I'm from New Jersey.
Nice. East Coast vibes. I'm actually, as we're recording this, when this drops, this won't be true, which is great because I don't like telling people where I'm at. But in a few weeks, I'm actually going to be in Jersey for the first time. So if you got some, some restaurants or spots, are you living in Jersey right now?
No, I'm in North Carolina right now, but I was born and raised 25 years up there.
Okay, well, send me your favorite restaurants. If I need to go to the homie's fish fry spot, your cousin got a weave spot, wherever. I like to support Black business when I go out in the world. So, Erin, I always say that when it comes to people who are boys, born obviously incredible, and who are doing amazing work like you are, there's always a team, right? There's always folks who are really supporting that. So if you had your gratitude list, who will be the top 3 people on that list for gratitude?
Top 3 people. Top 3 people will be my wife. Definitely. The support that she gives me is phenomenal. I still think I'd be somewhere in this realm, but I would not have the legs that I have without her. So she's definitely top. Myself, for surviving and thriving through some of the experiences and learning how to navigate that. So definitely myself. Number 3, I will have to say my mom too. My mom, she is a fighter, and without her fire, I wouldn't really have a flame. So definitely my mom.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I love that you included yourself. A few folks have done that on the show, but not a lot. But I think, when I often think about myself, I think about my younger self who got me here, and my future self, right, who inspires me to want to move forward. So you're a podcaster, right?
Yes. Yes, I'm a podcaster. I dropped my first 2 episodes of March in 2022.
Yeah. And what I find really cool about your show and the way you've been kind of marketing it is you've been using Style Seat, right? Have you used our Booksy, one of those type of things?
Booksy.
Which one are you using?
I use Booksy. Yeah.
Yeah. And not a lot of podcasters or creators really use that. So can you tell the audience, number one, a little bit about your show, and 2, like about Booksy and how that works? Because I think it's a great platform for creators to know a little bit more about.
Absolutely. So Resilience in Action is a show that I came up with, that we basically collect stories, systems, and strategies of resilience in action, which allows other people to have a greater human experience. We all go through certain situations. We all have certain experiences in life, and maybe hearing how someone else navigated a certain situation can help someone else through theirs. So that's why, and that's how that came to be. Just really, really being a story steward and being able to share those tips and tricks and strategies on just how to have a greater human experience. And when I say greater human experience, I mean literally like living your best life. But I think those specific words, living your best life, are so like dry now, in my opinion. So I said, what
Once
can I
Hallmark
say?
gets it, it's kind of like boring, right? Once Hallmark start
Exactly.
putting
Like
it
it's
on
like
cards and everything.
like we living your best life. Like we played that out. And so having a greater human experience, like what's better than that? Like literally, we're all human beings and we're here to live better and to do better and to be better. So just having that greater human experience, not just for you, but for the people around you, the people in your orbit, which is really, really important for me. And I think it's important for a lot of people. What was your second question?
The second question was
Booksy.
Booksy. Booksy, yes.
Booksy. That's right. Booksy. I stumbled upon Booksy. How did I even? I don't even remember how I stumbled upon Booksy. I think I was just looking for like a really, really a cool scheduling system, and it just so happens that you can actually create content through Booksy. So that's how I do all my interviews, all my podcast interviews. I set them up. I send a Google form with a few basic questions, and then I send them over to Booksy. Booksy solidifies the time. You know, if you say you want 3, so 3 o'clock is no longer available.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually have your guests leave you reviews, and you can turn those reviews into actual content and just share it right to your Instagram, right to your Facebook, right to all of your social media platforms, LinkedIn, whatever you're using. So I think it's a very, very user-friendly app that I just happened to stumble upon, and I love it.
Yeah, and it does. I didn't even know that it did all that. So I've used it when I've got my hair done. My hair guy is on there, but I didn't know that it allows you to create content and share it. And I love the review aspect of it because when I am looking at particular creators or folks I want to work with, being able to see that side of things, like the reviews are so important. Like we're gonna look into that every time. So you took us a little bit into your process of podcasting, and I want to take us back a little bit. There's so many creative avenues that we can use as creators and as influencers. It's podcasting, there's YouTubing, there's blogging. Is there a particular reason why you chose podcasting in particular as your vehicle to be able to like communicate with folks?
Um, I think I tried the interviewing, just the regular, just YouTube videos, and I enjoyed that. But if I can take the audio and put it on the other platforms that they don't have video, so you throw it on your Apple podcast, your Google podcast, your Spotify's, your iHearts, your Pandora's, maybe even Audible, because I know Audible does podcasting as well. So if I can take the audio from that and just give it to other people who use and listen to their content on different platforms, different mediums, then why would I not do that? That would make
Mm.
the most sense to me. And ultimately, it's going to get the message, because it's not just my message. So it's going to get the messages out to more people in more ways.
Definitely. So your goal was to kind of like spread it, right? Like build your audience and
Absolutely.
give it to as many people as possible. Yeah. When I first started, I remember I was only on SoundCloud. I was using literally these, but the wired ones. And I was kind of like scared, to be honest, to be on camera because I
Mhm.
didn't really know how to set up camera. I didn't know how to make myself like look good. I feel pretty good today. I just didn't know a lot about it. And then really the pandemic was the thing that shifted me because I had to
Mm.
start doing more presentations on Zoom and get used to this environment. So shouts out to the Rona. I know the Rona hasn't done all amazing things, but I think it pushed us all to upgrade a little bit,
It
right? And to do
absolutely
a little
did.
bit more. So do you still have the YouTube side of it, or is it mostly just
Oh,
audio?
absolutely. So I still
Okay.
have the YouTube. I still upload the actual interviews up on the YouTube channel. And you can go there, and I honestly say some of the interviews like are better if you watch it. I had a guest on recently who like probably like the last 3 minutes we just like just had a good time, and he had actually won an award and a hot dog eating contest, and he won an
Nice.
award. And the and the award that he got was like a little trophy of a hot dog, but the hot dog had no buns, so it was just like just a hot dog with 2 feet.
Hilarious.
And like you can listen to it, but seeing that little trophy, yeah, it's worth the watch.
Exactly. And I feel like YouTube is a powerful space because it goes so far. It gives you the video access, but also it lives forever, right? So as your show grows, right, you'll continue to grow your following and your subscribers, and ultimately that's a space where you can monetize. I think a lot of these other spaces, it's hard to sometimes do that. So
Mhm.
I know folks are listening to this and they're like, okay, I got a podcast expert. I got some questions about how do I start my own, right? So tell me a little bit of your journey. Like, how did you get started? Maybe any tips you would give to newbies who are thinking about creating their own show?
Absolutely. I would say that you definitely want to. People think that having like long names, like long podcast names, are horrible. But if it gets the message across and it's catchy, like go with it. Go with it. When I first started like this whole podcasting thing, back in 2020, it was I had like a little show. It was called Let's Talk, and I did not know how to actually get it up on Spotify and all of that other stuff. So those videos are just up on YouTube. So you got to do a little research into which platforms actually distribute your podcast to Spotify, to the Apples, because there's different levels. Different platforms do it at different price points. This
Hmm.
at the very very end of the day, like we're in a pay to play industry, like a pay to play world, I would say.
Yep.
And so you're going to have to. I'm not saying you have to go out here and spend top dollar, because I am not. I am not spending top dollar, but you also want to make sure you're making it. You know that you're making an investment to grow, an investment to change, to investment to learn more, and so you can do more as you go on your journey. Um, so you have your who do I use? I use PodPal. So
Okay, nice.
PodPal is $25 a month. Connect your Spotify. You can connect your Apple Podcast, Google, and iHeart, like all the major podcasting platforms. You can connect them. You send them over this code one time, and as you upload your podcast to PodPal, and shout out to PodPal because PodPal is Black owned.
That's what's up.
Fire.
I didn't know that.
PodPal is Black owned. Like I was very very shocked when I saw CEO. I was like, I knew I liked it for a reason. I knew it was a reason I was here. But you upload your episodes. You can actually record on PodPal. They're actually working on other elements so that you can get connected to other guests and either other podcasts. So you can actually look for guests and book guests through PodPal, and things like that. But the journey itself, I can't sit here and lie. It's difficult. It's hard. And anyone who says that, oh, podcasting is easy, are they really podcasting?
Mm.
Because this is grassroots. This is started from the bottom, and I'm learning as I go and making the mistakes. And I am the editor. I am the cameraman or camera woman, camera person. I am the talent scout. I book interviews. I do it all. So I just want to give those who are doing this, like doing everything, I just want to take a moment to give you a shout out because it is difficult. It is
Mhm.
difficult. It can be tiring, but if you find the joy in whatever it is that whatever reason that you have your podcast, all of the exhausted nights and early mornings and no's because maybe someone just doesn't align with what you're doing, or there was a miscommunication, or get used to getting no's, but you're never going to know, right? You're never going to know. And this is definitely a business where you got to shoot your shot. You know, that's how I've been able to land the Ken Bronsons and the big Kevs of the podcasting world. Is just, I'm real quick. I'm sliding your DMs like, hey, this is my podcast. This is what it's about. I think you have an amazing story, and I would love for you to come on and share it. And some people say yes, some people say no. Those yeses far outweighs the no's, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the no's will end up coming back to you, right? So
Listen,
I remember when they always come back around. I remember when I first started, people were saying no, and then as I grew, all right, more people were like, oh, you still doing that podcast thing? Let's talk about it, right? So just what my grandmother used to always tell me, and something I use all the time, Erin, is a delay is not a denial, and often no's are delays. Right. Sometimes the no's are not right now. Sometimes people are at capacity and they're really busy. But I love that you're talking about shooting your shot. The other thing that comes up for me is sometimes people want to be compensated to be on your show. And I often have to tell people, this thing, like you said, we paying to play here. Like, there's editors to pay. There's, if I want graphics, if I don't want to press every button, I gotta pay these people.
Exactly.
I can't pay guests right now, right? But I was listening to a podcast episode by why can't I think of his name right now? It's gonna make me mad that I can't get it. He has a very popular show. He does like the morning wake up type of thing.
David Shands.
Oh, Erin.
Listen, if I ever get like 5 minutes with David Shands, like
I met him, fam. I met him and got to talk to him at InvestFest when I was in Atlanta recently. Yes,
fire.
got to chop it up with him. Not a long conversation, but just to be in his energy and his aura, right?
Yeah.
But he did an interview recently with Nikki and Moose. I don't know if you follow their podcast, and he was talking about how you get to a point when you're making money in your show where it works to pay certain people to be on your show, right? Because you know that it's going to take it to another level.
Yeah.
So what I love to do is when people do tell me their price, and I can't pay it right now, but you never know. Money changes every day. Write them still on my list. I write their price down. So if that opportunity comes and I do get that funding, I know how much it costs to get that big fish, which is what I call it when we're able to get them on the shows.
Absolutely. And I just want to throw something out there. You said your list. This is another must have if you're podcasting. I need you to make a list. It's imperative. Make a list. And whether you've reached out to them yet or you haven't found the right words to say, make a list of of the people that you want on your show, the guests that you want. Make a list. Bring that one step into that. That's one step closer to manifesting them on your show.
Easily.
Writing it down. Write that list down. It's mandatory.
I wouldn't have remembered to reach out to you, fam, if I didn't have a list.
See,
and I tell people that all the time, right? Like once I hit 30, the memory stuff it's just not as good as it used to be.
It's not.
So
it's okay.
List, it saves me a lot and it keeps me in integrity, right? Because honestly, a lot of people are very sensitive, and when people forget about them, they get really mad. But y'all got to realize life is just really busy. It's not people forgetting about you because they don't care. It's just that people have lives. Life happens. So make that list and also follow up, right? Like I feel like so many of us just do things one time and then we're like, oh, they didn't answer, so I'm good. It's like, nah, follow up with people, do the right thing. So let's talk about equipment, right? Because I see you got Mike over there. You got your setup. I want to know, like, is this the equipment you always had? Did you upgrade? What equipment would you suggest that people need to get started with their podcast?
All right, to get started with your podcast, you need a cell phone at the very minimum. your cell phone, and headphones. If you want to get started right now, a cell phone and headphones. The equipment I have now is not the equipment I started with, but you have to get started. You have to get started. You got to move out of your own way and start and start with the phone and the headphones. You know, and as you grow, as I did, and I'm sure as you did as well, Yvonne, you have to grow, you have to learn. And all right, so I didn't always have this mic. I had a snowball. I had to snowball. Like, and
Me
that's
too. Me too. We all, that's all our upgrade. Going that good on Amazon.
yes, listen, I had to snowball. I was actually in a position to grab this mic, and my nephew, he's trying to get into like the game and stuff. He's like, Auntie, I need a mic. I just say less. I'll put that snowball in a package. Here you go. Like, it's getting more use. But yeah, no, I didn't always have this snowball. I didn't always have this webcam. This is not the camera to, my laptop. I had to invest. This is an investment. Like, this is something I want. I really need y'all to understand is that it is okay to start with what you have. It's not okay to stay there. You have to invest. You're going to have to pour into your mic to get a mic. You're going to have to pour into your camera, and let's say like in another 3 months, I might not have this webcam. I might not have this mic. I might have something better. This is always, this is a growing. This is a growing process. Like, always be learning, always be growing, and knowing that where you started is not where you're going to end.
Quote that. That's a big quote. And I love your positive energy about it, because I think right now, with so many content creators being around, which I love, other people complain about and say everybody's a content creator now. I'm like, we don't have to be pessimistic, but there's this message going out to people that podcast is dead, right? Like, that it's not going to be around. And I totally don't think that's true. Like, I feel like podcasts will always be around, just like radio has always been around. YouTube is not going anywhere. We're going to always have these spaces, and getting started now, right, means that in the near future, you'll be ahead of the game. And I love that you're talking about investing in yourself. So tell me, like, I know you didn't start off being comfortable, like reaching out to people and doing this. Like, is there like podcasting and interviewing, y'all? I want y'all to know, like, that's the 2.0. You can easily get on your phone and talk and ramble and do your own thing. But then when you got to bring other people and get your Oprah on, which is what I call it, it's a whole nother learning curve. So, one, why did you decide the interview process, and any tips you can give on being a really good interviewer? Because I feel like that's your powerhouse.
Yeah, oh man, I love interviewing. Interviewing is like, it's like, you have a chef that just, they love to cook that one meal. Like, of course they cook everything else, and they're the sous chef and they doing everything. But that one meal is that's their wheelhouse. That is interviewing for me. I started just being in front of the camera. Let me see, 4 years ago, I did a weekly motivational wrap up. Like, if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see all my old videos. I would stutter. I said I know I still say not nearly as much as I used to. I used to say a lot. But just getting comfortable with being in front of the camera and making the eye contact and being able to take that pause, know when to take that pause instead of filling that void with unnecessary noise. Powerful. And when it comes to interviewing, I think the biggest key to becoming or growing into a really, really great interviewer is to be naturally interested in the stories that people are telling you. That is the number one goal. Also, you got to ask the right questions. ask open-ended questions. Don't ask questions that can be a yes or a no. Or if you do that, make sure you have a follow-up. So often I get guests who, I email them, follow up, email them, hey, thanks so much. I got your booking on Booksy. I got you locked in at this date. Do you have any questions? They're like, yeah, can you send over a list of questions? I actually can't. I can put something together and send it over to you. But this is going to be a conversation. I always started off by asking, the bio. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself. And that's that first question and the last question I asked on my podcast is, what does resilience mean to you? Those are the only two questions that stay the same in every single episode. Everything else, I ask questions and follow-up questions off of what my guest gives me. And that takes practice, that takes learning. If you go back to my YouTube and you watch Let's Talk, in the first probably the first 5 episodes, I have a paper and I show it. I have paper and the pen and the questions. And I'm like, listen, these are the questions. Like, I'm so nervous. Da, 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 da. Another thing that I'll throw out there is your brain really doesn't know if you're nervous or excited. So just be excited. Just be excited. Like, your brain has no idea because it's all happening on the same wavelength. So your brain has no idea. So take that nervousness and change the language and say, hey, I'm just super excited to be here. So your enthusiasm is going to exude through excitement and not your nerves. That actually is like a mind trick that really can slow down like the stuttering process or the stumbling over your word process. It's literally like a Jedi mind trick that fools you into thinking or believing that you are actually really, really excited about whatever it is that you're doing, opposed to being nervous about it. But that has nothing I guess that does have something to do with interviewing.
It sure does. It sure does. And I hope listeners, y'all got y'all notebooks out. I should have said this in the beginning of this show, but we about to go deep in this. So I hope that you got your notebook, taking your notes, you ready to go, right? Because, podcasting is a form of education. And as African Americans, we've learned so much through song. So it's a powerful space for us. And Erin, you're creating, a great space and a great community. And we really commend you for that. So I want to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about, your identity. Like you mentioned it earlier, being married, having a wife. And I think the one thing I've been sitting with is like how much I didn't have that type of like vision to see when I was growing up. Like I seen a lot of, heteronormative relationships.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to see our people. But now our community is getting married and having kids and just doing, all this good stuff. So, tell me a little bit about like what you love about marriage and what might be some of the challenges, and please, keep it as cordial and as great as you can, because we want you to stay married. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to create no type of tension. Oh, boy meets wellness.
No drama on the home front. I know that's right. Listen, marriage is a beautiful thing. You're absolutely right. Growing up, I didn't see, same-sex couples or other, the traditional couples is what we saw. And just to like, not to step on the soapbox, but it kind of blows my mind right now when we have people saying, I didn't see this type of stuff when we were growing up. Kids need to just be kids. And it's like, I didn't see that type of stuff growing up either. And yet here I am. Super lesbian. Like, I don't think seeing that would have changed who I was and who I was born to be, So it just blows my mind. And those type of people definitely get deleted and blocked, and they are no longer in my orbit. They're no longer on my social media, because I'm just at a point in my life where I'm not finna argue with you. I'm not about to. I'm too old. There's too much good going on in the world for me to let one person ruin it. So bye. But exactly, deuces. You enjoy the rest of your life over there, and we just gonna keep it pushing over here. But married, so me and my wife, we got married in October actually, of 2018. So we're coming up on 4 years.
Wow, congratulations, man.
Yeah,
That's a
thank
big
you,
deal.
thank you. We're coming up on 4 years. Next year, we would be together for 10 years. You know, the beginning of our relationship started in November of 2013. So it's
So
been
y'all like doing things in the fall. Y'all a fall couple.
it's fall. You know, hoodie season is the best season. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I was like, the other day we were out and I'm like, babe, it's cold. She was like, it's not cold. I said, see, now I'm gonna have to get a resilience in action hoodie. Like, now I gotta, it's about that time. But marriage has been a beautiful learning lesson in knowing when to shut up and knowing when not to shut up. You know, okay, so boom, I'm black. If y'all don't know that, I'm black. My wife is white. So that within itself is a challenge.
Peace, family. I want to give you a gift. The guided meditation for wealth is an opportunity for you to start building wealth and growing your income and having a better relationship with money. When I put this meditation together, I was struggling. I was really sitting in some scarcity. And to be honest with you, that still happens to me to this day. This meditation gives you an opportunity to practice and break through that every day. It also gives you an opportunity to move past some of the negative thoughts that you might have around abundance and money. So I'm going to leave the link to this in the show notes or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, so that you can get into the guided meditation for wealth for free. I want you to listen to this at least twice a day and give yourself an opportunity to build a better relationship with money.
My family, they were like, you know, her family would definitely like, and what is happening here? Like, it's not supposed to happen that way. That's something we had to overcome together. It was difficult, but ultimately, with what we learned is that as long as you love your other person and respect them, you can navigate a lot of life's adversities. Being open, and I'm going to say this word, vulnerable. It's a heavy word, but being open and being vulnerable, which is something that growing up, that wasn't taught to us. I wasn't taught to be vulnerable. And I don't think I was taught not to be vulnerable. That's just something that we never talked about. I didn't understand the weight of that word. So into my 20s, now in my 30s, vulnerability is the best strength, that the best emotion, however you want to describe it, that you can have. Like, it's definitely not a weakness, it's a strength. Because if it was a weakness, it would be very, very easy. You know, it would be very easy. But vulnerability is very difficult. And to open up to a person and know that that person can completely destroy your world, but you're willing and ready to take that chance, I don't even know how to explain that.
It's no words for it. It's more of a feeling.
It's no words for putting yourself in such a predicament that everything can go really, really bad, or it can go really, really beautifully. And finding someone worth that. That's the key. Is finding someone worth putting in that time, putting in the effort. And also, this is a journey of self as well, because not only are you learning someone else, you're learning who you are and who it is that you want to be along the way as well. So I don't, they say like it's like two people coming as one, and I don't really, but I think that's it's two people on their own separate journeys together. Like I don't think we're too much intertwined, which we are in a sense. Um, but I ultimately think there's two people on their journeys, on their paths, and learning who they are. They're learning who they are, and then learning who they are with each other.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you're breaking down the difference, right? Because even this notion that we're all one is very much connected to the patriarch, right? Like it's very
Hmm.
much connected to, like you said, traditional relationships where it's like it's not even one. It's that this woman is becoming a part of this man's family, right?
Yeah.
And essentially this man's caretaker. So, I'm married as well, and it feels very different. It feels very much like we're on a path, like you said, together, and we both also have our individual paths, and
Hmm.
and being in that partnership, whether it's challenging or whether it's rewarding, it makes the journey a little bit easier, right? Like I often say, my wife is my blind spot because I'm very nice, so sometimes I don't see all in the grass, but she
Hmm.
sees them before I do. And I appreciate that, even though I'm stubborn and sometimes be like, "There ain't no snake. That's just a little worm right there. That's a little worm." And she's like, "Nah, boo, that's a snake.
That's an
I'm telling you."
anaconda. What do you mean?
But you need those extra eyes, right? You need that extra
Absolutely.
support, and it's beautiful that you've been married that long. I'm proud of y'all. Congratulations. What y'all got planned? Are y'all gonna do anything for the anniversary this year?
So this year we probably just chill. We're trying to buy a house.
Yes, home
So
ownership. Okay.
so a little home ownership. So we're probably gonna take it easy. That's gonna be our gift to each other,
Yes.
is that house.
Yeah.
Something in our name. But I know I think the next 2 years we were discussing like we should do something and include, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids. So I think we're going to go like on a ski resort and invite them all and have a good old time.
That'll be nice. That'll be
Yeah.
nice. So before we pivot into our last segment, which is Boy Talk and Hop, I wanted you to just share with like folks if they're interested, right? And they're like, "Yo, I want to get on this show. This sounds like something. I want to talk about my own resilience. I want to share my story." Like, do they just go on Booksy? Like, what's the best way to contact you and be able to support and elevate your podcast and your work?
Absolutely. So the best way would be you can head over to my Facebook, you can head over to my Instagram. My Instagram, you can check the link in the bio, click on there, and the Google form is actually right there for you to fill out on the last
Okay.
page. Um,
Okay.
you could slide in the DMs. I'm really active on social media. So slide in the DMs like, hey, I have a story to tell, or I know someone who would be interested. I'm active there. You can shoot me an email at ebspeaksllc@gmail.com. Um, yeah, there's like any way to reach me, you can reach me. Or if you want to just slide right to the Booksy, you can slide right to the Booksy. No problem whatsoever.
Definitely. We'll include all of those links in the show notes to make it easier for y'all. And if you're watching on YouTube, we always appreciate the love. So like and subscribe, but don't forget to go down to the description and check that out so you can support Erin. So Erin, let's do Boy Talk and Hop. I love games, just to let you know, because we're gonna hang out, Erin. I can feel this. Me and you, my dream for this podcast is to do it in person, right? To be able to be in your space and be like, walk me through you creating the podcast. I have some
Absolutely.
homies who have some food that they do and they're chefs and they do seasoning. Walk me through creating it. That's my dream of Boy Meets Well. When it happens, I'm coming to visit you.
Come on.
But when I come, I'm bringing my Uno deck because I get down with the games, Erin. That's why I'm telling you, like, I had to have a game as a part of my show because I'm a gamer. I love games and I love having a good time with my folks.
I'm with it.
Yeah, definitely. So Boy Talking Hop is kind of like fill in the blank. I'm going to give you a couple of words and you just fill it in and you tell us what comes to mind. So the first one for you, Erin, is love is.
Love is patient.
Money is.
Freedom.
If you could speak to anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and what would you speak about?
Wow. I would probably speak to. Dang, I got two.
That's fine.
So one would be Steve Irwin, because he's just, that man had a special place in my heart for like his love for animals and just the wilderness and wildlife is beyond me. And so I would definitely want to have a conversation with him and learn a little bit more about how he even got on that journey in the first place. And the second person I would speak to is probably Mr. Rogers. And I will want to know. I know he came into some issues, and then he brought the cop on the show, and they sat in the pool with their feet in the water. But I want to know more. I know he's got like just so much more to share.
I love those two people. That's beautiful. My favorite food is.
Oh, goodness gracious, right in the gut. Oh man. Probably tacos, because you can do tacos anyway. Whether you want a tortilla, you want a romaine, you want beef, you want vegetarian, there's a million things you can do with tacos. I'm gonna go with tacos.
Yes, our listeners know my love for tacos, Erin. So we definitely hanging out. We have tacos.
Oh, definitely.
Uno, and we about to record a good episode. I love it. My favorite book is
The Four Agreements.
What's your favorite agreement?
Yeah, that might be my favorite agreement. Oh gosh, not to take things personally, because I have such a hard time with that. I'm learning. I'm learning every single day with giving myself grace in that space. So probably not to take things personally.
Podcasting is
life.
Wellness is
life. Wellness is the ultimate gift.
And last but never least, Erin is
phenomenal.
Yes, you are, fam.
Phenomenal.
Thank you.
It took me a very, very long time to even have the confidence to say something like that. I always played small, was always very humble, not quiet. My mom always got me in trouble, but just acknowledging the goddess in me and being bold enough and having the audacity to celebrate that is phenomenal.
Yes, it sure is. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm excited for this partnership, for this collaboration, to know the good work that you're doing and to be able to support your elevation. So thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate the invite, and I love spending time with you. Thank you so much. My name is Erin Brown, and I was born obviously incredible.
Thanks for listening to Boy Meets Wellness. Stay connected on and off the show by following us online at Boy Meets Wellness. That's boy with an I. Until next time, go be incredible.